You hear about it all the time, right? Billions of dollars are poured into fighting it every single year, and yet it always kind of feels like it's one step ahead of us. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're profiling the ultimate adversary, cancer. We're going to map out exactly how this elusive mastermind operates, how it evades us, and why it's just so incredibly difficult to defeat.
Okay, let's set the stage a bit and look at our own scientific track record. Historically, we've achieved the truly impossible. We figured out how to harness electricity to power the entire globe. We've mapped the unbelievably intricate blueprint of human life by sequencing the human genome. We've even completely eradicated ancient, devastating diseases like smallpox. When you really think about those triumphs, humanity's scientific capability seems basically limitless. But that just makes our exhausting, ongoing struggle with this one stubbornly resilient disease stand out even more.
And the stakes literally could not be higher. 14 million. Just let that number sink in for a second. After all of our medical advancements, after all the time and money poured into global research, this is our current reality. At any given time, cancer affects more than 14 million people. And obviously, by extension, that impacts all of their families and loved ones too. It's a massive global crisis. That single number tells us right away that we aren't dealing with a standard medical glitch here. We are dealing with a total titan.
So why is it so hard to cure cancer? That's the central mystery we're unpacking today. It's a question that absolutely haunts scientists, doctors, and families all over the world. But as you'll see, framing cancer as just a basic infection or a simple biological error, that's fundamentally wrong. We have to start looking at this disease as a hyper-intelligent, rapidly evolving target. It's a master of disguise. And to defeat an enemy like that, well, you have to understand its tactics. Let's start with Section 1, the basic threat level, unchecked growth. Now, you probably know the basic mechanics. Mutations bypass the body's security, cells grow unchecked, and they can eventually metastasize. But let's dig deeper into how it survives when we actually fight back. Let's look at our current arsenal. We hit it with everything we've got. We use surgery, radiation, chemotherapy, hormone therapies, immunotherapies, and super precise targeted treatments. And look, a lot of the time this works. Patients do become cancer-free, which is amazing. But here's the harsh reality check. These treatments are far from being 100% effective 100% of the time. And why is that? Well, we have to bust the myth of the magic bullet. Cancer isn't just one disease. It's an insanely complex umbrella term for over 100 different diseases. There's no single magic cure, because we're basically fighting over 100 different wars all at once.
To really understand why our best weapons sometimes fail, we need to crack open the adversary's playbook. Starting with Tactic 1, the decoy.
So for decades, new treatments have been developed using lab-grown cell lines. But here's the catch. Lab-grown cells are basically pampered houseplants. They completely lack the messy, dynamic, street-smart complexity of a living human tumor that's actively fighting for survival inside a person. Because of this decoy effect, it is so common for a brand new drug to look like an absolute miracle cure in a petri dish, only to totally fail when it reaches clinical trials with real patients. A pristine lab environment just cannot perfectly simulate the brutal, chaotic battlefield of the human body.
Which brings us right to Tactic 2, shapeshifting.
We usually picture a tumor as just a solid, uniform mass of bad cells, right? Just a monolithic lump. Well, actually, scratch that. That's entirely wrong. They are shifting, inconsistent entities capable of mutating completely distinct parts of themselves. It's called clonal heterogeneity. Sounds like dense medical jargon, I know, but it just means that as a tumor grows, different genetic mutations accumulate in entirely different parts of that exact same tumor. This creates unique subclones. Think of it like a single country fracturing into multiple different rebel factions, all operating under their own completely different rules. This shape-shifting is exactly why a heavy-duty chemo drug might absolutely obliterate one subclone, but have literally zero effect on the subclone sitting right next to it.
Let me ground that in a pretty shocking reality. 6. In highly aggressive brain tumors, like glioblastomas, researchers have found that a single patient can harbor as many as 6 entirely different subclones within their tumor. 6 different genetic profiles in one mass. That means doctors aren't just trying to solve one really tough puzzle. They are effectively trying to solve 6 separate, highly complicated puzzles simultaneously, hoping they can wipe out every single distinct subclone before it grows out of control.
And it gets wilder. Let's look at Tactic 3, mind control and sleeper cells. Because a tumor isn't just sitting passively in your tissue.
It operates as a deeply interconnected ecosystem. Here is its ecosystem survival plan. And it's basically a hostile takeover of your body's infrastructure. Step 1. The cancer cells constantly communicate with nearby healthy cells. Step 2, they literally hijack your body's resources, forcing your normal cells to build new blood vessels. It's a private supply line just to feed the tumor and take out its trash. And step 3, this is the mind control part. They can interact with your immune system and actually suppress it. They effectively blindfold your body's natural defenses. If scientists can figure out how to cut these communication lines, we'll have a vastly better shot at taking these tumors down.
But even if we do cut those lines, we face a pretty terrifying reality. A single residual cancer stem cell could seed the growth of a new tumor. Just one. Mounting evidence points to these rare, incredibly stubborn sleeper cells that are highly resistant to standard chemo and radiation. So, in theory, you could blast a tumor, shrink it down so much it's totally undetectable, and celebrate a win. But if just one of these sleeper stem cells survives, it can just hide out, wait, and eventually bring the whole shebang back. Finding and destroying them is easily one of our greatest challenges.
Which leads us to the ultimate defense mechanism. Tactic 4, evolution and protective shields.
Even if we solve the decoy problem, outsmart the shape-shifting, and hunt down the sleeper cells, we are dealing with an enemy that learns. Cancer cells are absolute master adapters. When they're put under extreme stress, like when we bombard them with heavy artillery like radiation, they don't always just sit there and die. They can actually activate protective molecular shields by rapidly changing their gene expression. That means the very treatments we use to kill them can sometimes trigger them to evolve and become stronger. To defeat an enemy that keeps changing the rules of the game, we need treatments that can pivot and adapt just as fast.
Okay, I know. Everything we've just covered paints a picture of this invincible, terrifying supervillain. But don't lose hope. I want to pivot here, because the story is far from over. Let's talk about the arsenal of hope. Because despite all of cancer's masterful adaptations, we are fighting back, and we are making incredible progress. Back in the 1970s, the mortality rate for most cancers was discouragingly high. But look at present day. That rate has dropped significantly, and crucially, it's still falling. We are winning more of these battles. Every single day, scientists are decoding new pieces of the puzzle and adding brand new, cutting-edge tools to our arsenal. Moving into the future, the primary goal is finding experimental systems that actually match the complex reality of human cancer, getting us way past that old petri dish problem.
Which leaves us with this final, profound thought. We've clearly seen today that cancer is not static. It's a masterclass in biological evolution, shape-shifting, and shielding itself to survive. But you know what? Humanity's greatest strength has always been our own capacity to adapt. So the real question is, as cancer adapts to survive, how will our science adapt to defeat it? Because every failed trial, every mutated subclone, it teaches us something new, and it pushes our scientific ingenuity to heights we never thought possible. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I can't wait to explore the next fascinating topic with you all very soon.